Happy New Year, everybody. It's kind of a strange game. Obviously not the exact game that we expected. We've had a hard time here at the AMP since I've been at Marquette. The team, Providence, has had a ton to do with that, but the crowd has been tough to overcome over 40 minutes. And the way the game started, with Providence making, I think, their first 4 shots, scoring 10 points in the blink of an eye, was not ideal. It wasn't the way we drew it up, but I thought our guys did a great job defensively for most of the rest of the game. We got our hands on the basketball quite a bit. At one point, we got 12 consecutive stops, and our defense led the way. Our hand activity, Stevie Mitchell led the way. Chase Ross, we're getting our hands on the basketball, being disruptive. We thought that this was a game where we could force a good amount of turnovers and be disruptive with our hands, and the guys did a good job. We put up a good deflection number.
Just like the crowd tonight, like you mentioned, it's normally a little bit louder. Just like, I don't know, how happy were you to be able to silence the building just so quick?
It's important in here. We were here obviously way early before the game, and I saw a guy walking in with those beers that are like a foot tall, and it reminded me of previous years being here. And it can get away from you quick just with the way that the crowd gets going. But I think the way that our guys were dedicated to getting defensive stops in the first half, that made it not as loud of a building as it normally is.
Shaka, how do those defensive stops kind of lead to easy runouts?
Yeah, deflections were effective for us to create early offense just because of some stuff we saw going into the game. We felt like if we could get the ball up the floor in the scoring area, in 3, 4, 5 seconds to get to an early action or move the ball. They've got younger bigs that are not necessarily used to defending on the perimeter, and the way that our team is built, we pretty much have all perimeter guys out there. So the stops allowed us to get out there early and maybe put them in some compromising situations early in the possession.
Another 10-assist game for Cam. All those passing drills that he worked on so diligently over the summer, how have you seen that affect how he passes the ball?
Yeah, he's first of all, he's a willing passer. I think that's the most important thing. It's fascinating because, his whole life he's been a phenomenal scorer. And you saw Tyler sitting there. I think that anytime you have a guy that's an elite passer like Tyler was for us for 3 years, it's contagious. It has an effect on other guys in the team, and not necessarily that other people can be exactly him. But Cam is passing the ball in his own way, but similar to the way that Tyler did, moving it around. The thing that's important for me, though, is that he stays aggressive with his shooting and his scoring because, he's a real threat there.
You mentioned Tyler. What was it like looking to the right and seeing him sit there?
Well, normally when you have a former great player you see sitting close to you, it's kind of depressing because, he's not on the court. But we're fortunate that the game was going the way it was going. Really wanted to win here for him. The last 3 years, we were not able to get it done. We were close a couple of the years. Last year, we were completely out to lunch when we came up here. And so I'm just proud of him. He's a man. He's a man. We say relationships, growth, and victory. The guy's a grown up now. And he's going through, that next version of having to prove himself at the highest level. And I have no doubt that he will.
After the game, Tyler was taking pictures. I don't remember everyone, but the whole team came by and just said hi to him and his family. When you see something like that, what goes through your head?
Well, our guys care about each other. I mean, we have genuine relationships. But at the same time, those guys wanted to do something that Tyler couldn't do. And so it kind of goes both ways. But there's a real respect that our guys have for Tyler Kolek. He's one of one in terms of the way he worked, the way he competed, And he went from being a little bit of a loner when he first got to Marquette to being a really good teammate, and players appreciate that.
Shaka, you were toe-to-toe with these guys in the Big East tournament semifinal, and you seem to maintain that level that you were at, even losing Tyler and Oso. Just how have you guys been able to continue on like you have in the program?
Just the growth of our young players. I think that's, for us, our formula. The transfer portal is a huge part of college basketball now, and there's a lot of teams out there that have some very good players that came out of the portal. We've just chosen to double down on the guys we have and try to get them better. You can't always put a clock on that or a timetable on that, but we feel like over time, that growth is going to pay off for us. And it's not an exact science, but it's just what we believe in.
Shaka, you mentioned how the last couple of years have kind of gone for you guys in this building. Is there any type of extra satisfaction that kind of comes from just dominating in this building the way you guys did tonight?
Just winning. I mean, just getting a win, whether it's by 1 or by 28, because this is a hard place to come in and win. We had a couple years, not last year. Last year we got dominated, but we had a couple years where we felt like we had the game, and then Providence just kind of punked us and out-physicaled us, out-toughed us late and took the game. And obviously the crowd had a lot to do with it. One year, Nate Watson literally threw our guy out of the way, got the rebound, dunked the ball, and won, and that was kind of that. So I'm glad Nate's, matriculated to the professional ranks. And but this obviously wasn't Providence's night. They're a team that's going to be hard to deal with when we play them at home. This is the Big East, so there's going to be a lot of twists and turns. Our goal is to get back safe and grow for the next one.
Last one, Ben.
Speaking of the growth, the young players, they had 11 points off the bench.
Yeah.
What did you think against them?
Well, it's a great testament to staying ready. I don't think he went in the game until maybe 10 or 11 minutes into the game. So he was sitting there for a while. But he came off the bench with a great attitude. He had a readiness. Providence decided to guard him instead of Ben Gold with their bigger guys. So that just created some opportunities for him. He's worked hard on his shooting, so it's good to see that pay off. And hopefully that's a lesson for all of our young players. Go ahead.
You touched on this earlier. Seeing you play in person for the first time, it seemed like the thing you do, one of the things you do so well is you're so ball conscious on defense, and every defense wants to see the ball. But
Yeah.
you guys seem especially focused on seeing the ball. Could you comment on that?
Yeah, and at times it gets us in trouble. There was probably half a dozen possessions tonight where we were too ball conscious, and then we gave up a 3 or we gave up a cut. The goal is, we call it appropriate help. So we want to help our teammate exactly as much as we should, no more, no less. But that's dictated by a lot of different factors: who you're guarding, who has the ball, the game, the way it's going, if a guy's made a couple threes. But absolutely, our mentality is, it's kind of the opposite of a high school mentality. I got my guys, so everything's all good. We want 5 guys guarding the ball, because the scoreboard doesn't move unless that ball goes in the basket. And I thought about 85–90% of our possessions tonight on defense, we did a good job of that. Thank you guys.